Assalamu alaikum. This is Iqra Ansari, and today's my topic is meaning and concept of test, measurement, assessment, evaluation, and testing, assigned by Sir Amjad Ali. In the first, I will discuss its definition. What is test? Test may be called as tool, a question set of question, an examination which is used to measure a particular characteristic of an or a group of individuals. Test, an instrument or activity used to accumulate data on a person's ability to perform a specific task. Kinds of test: objective test, subjective test, individual test, group test, unstandardized test, standardized test. Objective test. It is a test paper and pencil test wherein students' answers can be compared and quantified to yield a numerical score. This is because it requires convergent and specific response. Subjective test. It is a paper and pencil test which is not easily quantified as students are given the freedom to write their answers to a question, such as an essay test. Thus, the answer to this type of test is divergent. Individual test. It is a test administered to one student at a time. Group test. It is one administered to a group of students. Unstandardized test. It is one prepared by teachers for use in the classroom with no established norm of scoring and interpretation of results. Standardized test. It is a test prepared by an expert or specialist. This type of test samples behavior under uniform procedures. Now, what is measurement? Measurement, a process of collecting data, an attribute of interest. Measurement is a term used to describe the assignment of a number to a given assessment. The number can be a raw score or a score based on a normal distribution curve. The process of quantifying this number is separate from using this information to evaluate student outcomes and achievement. Now, the purpose of test and measurement: for getting knowledge about the progress, for preparation of effective planning, for knowing the abilities and capacities, for giving motivation, for knowing the achievement in future, for research and experimentations. What is assessment? Assessment is the process of documenting, usually in measurable terms, knowledge, skills, attitudes, and beliefs. Assessment can focus on the individual learner, the learning community, class workshop, or other organized group of learners, the institution, or the educational system. Types of assessment: formal assessment, informal assessment, formative assessment, summative assessment. Formal assessment. Formal assessment have data which support the conclusion made from the test. We usually refers to these type of test as standardized measure. Informal assessment. Informal assessments are not data driven but rather content and performance driven. For example, running records are informal assessment because they indicate how well a student is reading a specific book. Scores such as 10 correct out of 15% of words read correctly, and most rubric scores are given from this type of assessment. Formative assessment. A diagnostic use of assessment to provide feedback to teachers and students over the course of instruction. In the other words, the goal of formative assessment is to monitor students' learning to provide ongoing feedback that can be used by instructors to improve their teaching and by students of improve their learning. Now the other type, summative assessment. A summative assessment is one attempts to assess students' learning for a specific time period. For example, a unit test would be a summative assessment used to determine the mastery and achievement of the student, done usually at the end of a chapter or unit. Accountability of success or failure, used primarily in assigning grades. Purpose of assessment: to diagnose students' strengths and weaknesses, to assign grades, to determine the teacher's effectiveness, to monitor students' progress, to help evaluate teachers. Now, what is evaluation? Evaluation is concerned with a whole range of issues in and beyond education. Lessons, programs, and skills can be evaluated. It produces a global view of achievements, usually based on many different types of information, such as observation of lessons, test scores, assessment reports, course documents, or interviews with students and teachers. The process of making overall judgment about one's work or a whole school work. And the other definition, evaluation, is a process of determining to what extent the educational objectives are being realized. Types of evaluation: process evaluation, product evaluation. Process evaluation, it refers to evaluation taking place during the program or learning activity. It is conducted while the event to be evaluated is occurring and focuses on identifying the progress towards purposes, objectives, or outcomes to improve the activities, course, curriculum, program, or teaching and student. It is also known as formative evaluation. Product evaluation. Product evaluations examines the effect of outcomes of some object. It conducted at the end of course. It is also known as summative evaluation. It evaluates the progress towards an established outcomes. Purpose of evaluation: clarify and define objectives, facilitate the improvement program, motivate participants, establish and maintain standards to meet legal, professional, and academic credentials, test the efficiency of teachers. Thank you.